Behind me off in the distance is our first glimpse at Alaska from the cruise ship. And today we are going to be porting in Juneau, and we're going to find out, is this potentially Alaska's most underrated port? Now, we still have a little bit more time before we actually get to port. So I'm going to grab some breakfast and attempt to figure out how to warm up because I did not bring enough layers because it's in the 30s up here right now. Little pro tip, bring layers when you're coming to Alaska, and don't underestimate if it's warm in the lower 48. It might not be up here. It's freezing. All right, we've officially gotten off the ship here in Sitka, and I tell you, I do things differently than a lot of other people do. So I don't typically do the actual like excursions. I mean, if you want to spend $300 to go do something that you can do for probably 50 to 100 per person, more power to you. I'm not saying I'm never going to do an excursion, but we typically like to do our own thing. So with that, here in Alaska, it's a little harder to get like rideshare. I am attempting to get a Lyft or an Uber, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, well, they're trying to find a driver. If that doesn't work, I'll cancel it and I'll see if I can't do Uber. One of the downsides is I don't really see any vehicles here. Worst case scenario, about 11 o'clock, I can get on the shuttle, but I'd rather go now. So I will say too, just like every other cruise port known to man, they build these things, are purpose built. There's, stores and all that. I'm not saying it's not local, but it's less likely to be local. I like to double check to purchase things, but that's just me. So probably go wander around here, some of the shops, just kind of look around while we wait and see what is the deal with the Lyft. All right, 100% don't do the Uber. So I highly suggest making a reservation on the shuttle, but there is a no reservation line going. It does take quite a bit longer, but I mean, I still got down here by 11 o'clock. All right, so the shuttle drops you off in downtown, and we are officially going to just kind of go about our day finally, now that we got down here. So we're going to start by walking down the waterfront, walk, and we're going to the Sitka National Historic Park. So we're actually going to do the Totem Pole trail or hike. What's interesting is a lot of these poles aren't original. They were taken down to be preserved, and then they've recreated them as they've gone. So let's get it. So this is one of those situations again where it's really cool, but because this national park is associated with a cruise port, people that don't necessarily understand the national park system and don't care to learn it come here and they just assume that it's a touristy thing, and they can be, and they are, but there's a certain level of respect you should have for the history that's being preserved, the nature, and fortunately that's just not happening at the moment, and it's really crowded. And I think it's important to say too, I'm not saying that as a don't do it, I'm saying that as a be prepared. It's important to know, it's still cool and it's interesting to see, just a little extra time, a little more patience. That's all. So what is nice is practically everything here is walkable. So from inside the National Park historical site, you can actually walk to the Raptor Center. So that's what we're gonna do now. Okay, that is actually pretty cool because that's, I guess, the back entrance to the Sitka National Historical Park. And then you walk down here and the thing on the right is the Raptor Center. And there goes an eagle. So the Alaska Raptor Center, if you're unfamiliar, raptors are birds. So they care for a lot of wounded or orphaned animals that can't take care of themselves anymore. Okay, so I would say the Raptor Center is freaking awesome. go do it. I don't know that I would do it for the cost of like a tour from the ship, but if you want convenience, it's great. Quite frankly, you can walk, if you're a little bit fit, you can walk down there or take a cab or something. Because it's only 17 bucks to get in versus like upwards of $100 to $150 to do a tour, including it. So anyway, 100% do it. Cool thing too is it's connected to the Totem Trail, kinda. You gotta cross the road, but it's pretty simple across the board. It was cool to see that. Anyway, so we're back in the National Park Service's wilderness area and gonna make our way back towards downtown. A few things I want to see down there before we get ready to head back to the ship. Little sub note, I wish I could have brought the drone. Not allowed to bring it on cruise ships, but this would have been a cool trip to bring it and showcase some of this stuff. And I know that Lauren and I are a little bit more active, but the walk's really not bad. Like, this is the worst part of it, and it's very pretty. So I would tell you, don't worry so much about the walk. I will say from downtown to here and then to the Raptor Center and back might be a mile, maybe 1.1, 1.2 at the absolute most. So again, if you can't do it, then you can't do it. But I've seen people in wheelchairs doing it, so it's not difficult. In fact, as we look out over the bay, you see, it's kind of hard, but if you see the spires kind of right there in that building to the left, that's kind of brown. That's actually where we're walking to. We just have to walk around this marina right here. So this is actually the Science Center. And they have, I don't know if it's a replica or a real thing, I'm assuming they're a real thing, a salmon ladder. So that's the more kind of put together version. That's one of the older concrete ones. And then this is obviously the more natural ones. But I do think that they open this net up here so that they can get in. It is not quite spawning season, but it's getting very, very close. Now, I didn't go into the thing, but what I will say is I don't actually know. You can see the pipe. It's easier to see over there. The kind of, it runs right there. It runs through the water right here as well. I don't know what that's for. Maybe sucking fish up? No, I'm just kidding. I think it has to do with like bringing water up because you can see they're pumping water back out down here. So I think what they do is when they like study and do stuff, they bring them up because you can see all these green holding tanks up there. So I'm sure that has something to do with just water flow from the sea and kind of making sure that it always is flowing. So you kind of see there's just people kind of everywhere. That's probably the only thing I really dislike about a cruise is there's just people everywhere. And so everything's a little bit harder to get to do, and it has a tendency for things to get a little touristy. If you followed us for any period of time or interest in following us, you know, we prefer kind of off the beaten path stuff, doing our own thing. And in a cruise, you can definitely do that. But the crowds come with it, unfortunately, and especially in Alaska because these towns are much smaller. It's one thing if you're down in like Mexico or the Caribbean or Europe where towns are huge. It's just everything's a little more compressed here. There's only so many things to do and for people to spread out. Also, this is a really good example of why you should bring layers. It started raining. So make a raincoat one of those layers. It's crazy how there's just nothing. I mean, this is more my speed of a town, but there's just nothing here comparatively to some of the other towns that we see on cruises. So this is St. Michael's Cathedral. It is actually a Russian Orthodox church that was put here back when the Russians actually occupied Alaska. All right, well, I ended up grabbing a quick bite to eat at the Mean Queen. It was really good. I'm not the biggest seafood fan. I know Alaska, it's kind of one of those weird things, but I got a smash burger and an Alaskan red ale beer, and it was good. The most underrated port in Alaska. I can tell you I had fun. It's cool. The dock and getting here situation's a little harder than the rest, but it's not awful. So I can't answer that question right now. So I'm going to, by the power of editing, transport about 6 days in the future and tell you if it's worth it compared to at least the ones that I've done previously and the ones on this cruise. So fast forward to future Ryan. Okay, well, I am back home in Texas and it's more than 6 days. It's like 12. My bad. I got distracted by the cruise and then I was excited to get home. And believe it or not, I had to move pretty quickly to our next trip. It's been a crazy 3 months between work trips and filming trips and one or two little vacations sprinkled in. I haven't been here very much. But, you know, was it the best port on the cruise? And I'm going to say of any of the Alaskan stuff that we've done. So I'm actually going to say yes, but only because of how we like to do things. Now, I say that like how we like to do things because
we like to march to the beat of our own drum, if you may. We're not the biggest fans of like excursions if we can help it. Some things are just better that way, and I understand that, and that's fine. But if we can help it, we like to go off on our own as much as possible. And so as far as things to do and ease of getting used to it, if you discard the whole there is no Uber and Lyft and you're just going to have to take the shuttle, and if I had known more things about the shuttle, I would kind of put that null and void knowing what I know now. So if you don't get a reservation for the shuttle, just get off and go stand in the non-reservation line. You're not going to be in it very long. And from that perspective, for me at least, you know, you've got the Totem Pole Historical Park, you've got the Raptor Center, you've got downtown, you can walk around, there's food, there's shopping, there's a lot of things to do. Now, if there's a lot of cruise ports or a lot of cruise ships in town, it'll get condensed, but overall, compared to the other ports we went to, which I love Ketchikan, that's one of my favorites as well. We've been to Skagway previously, not on this trip. Icy Strait Point, you'll see that coming up. Spoiler. We have that port coming up with some other things as well as Victoria. As far as the Alaska ports themselves, this may actually be my favorite. Now, Lauren did not get to go to this port on our cruise in 2018. This and Icy Strait Point were the two that we didn't go to. Now, I also didn't get to go to Skagway on this cruise, but I did previously with Lauren, and Skagway was really high on my list because you could go hiking pretty easily and see all kinds of waterfalls and stuff. So anyway, all right, let's get past me again and get back on the ship. There's one more surprise. Don't go anywhere. So I will say I just got back on the ship, so before we transport forward, and that was super nice. I guess it's nice having status because I'm starting to get things. I don't know what they are, but I'm getting things. We're silver members on Norwegian, and after this cruise, I'll be gold. Lauren's still be silver, and we're working on it. But I met a guy who's an ambassador, but not like a YouTuber is an ambassador. Like that's his level, and apparently you got to like almost live on a dang ship to get it. So. Everybody already knows his name, which is kind of cool. So anyway, yeah, that's fun. So, all right, now to future Ryan. Thank you so much for watching this week. If you like this video, check out this one of our embarkation day. I think you'll like it. And we have a lot more port videos coming from Alaska very soon. See ya.